Have you guys ever noticed that some lines leave an unforgettable impact in our life? They hold deep meanings, hidden themes, and exam-worthy insights. So, in this video, we'll explore the most powerful last lines in literature and their significance, and also we'll learn why they are important for English literature exams like UGC NET, GATE, PGT literature, or different set exams, or we can say for your university courses also. So stay till the end because some of these might just appear in your next exam. So let's start our today's video on most important last lines of our literature. So the first last line of our today's video is going to be from Middlemarch by George Eliot, which was published in 1871 to 72. So the line was like, but the effect of her being on those around her was incalculably diffusive, for the growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts. So, this line refers to Dorothea Brooke, the novel's protagonist, whose quiet and selfless life might not just be remembered in history books, but it has left a deep impact on those around her. So, George Eliot celebrates the idea that true heroism often goes unnoticed, yet it shapes the society in a powerful ways. Now let's think why it's important for exams. So Middlemarch is, as we know all, that it is considered as one of the greatest Victorian novels. So it explores themes of marriage, ambition, and social reform. It also often analyzed in realism and feminist literary criticism. So this is why it's important for our exams. The next line was, yes, I said yes. I will, yes. So this last line was from Ulysses by James Joyce, which was published in 1922. So it was one of the most famous last lines in modernist literature, as we know that Ulysses is a modernist novel. So this line comes from Molly Bloom's Stream of Consciousness soliloquy. As we know that in Ulysses, Molly Bloom is a character, and this line comes from Molly Bloom's Stream of Consciousness soliloquy. It also reflects about how acceptance, passion, and affirmation of life actually matters. Is important for exam point of view because it is a masterpiece of stream of consciousness narration. It has modernist themes of memory, time, and consciousness that are frequently analyzed in the exam. The next line was, yes, she thought, laying down her brush in extreme fatigue, I have had my vision. So this last line was from To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, which was published in 1927. So this last line was spoken by Lily Briscoe, who is finishing a painting while staying at the house. As she watches the people leave for the lighthouse and finds inspiration for the final stroke of her painting. So, this last line will see that Lily, who was an artist, finally completes her painting, which symbolizes her search for meaning. And this represents the artistic struggle, feminist theme, and old modernist narrative style. So, as this novel is a modernist novel, and Virginia Woolf was a very famous writer, so we can definitely expect the question of last line from the lighthouse in our next exams. The next one was from 1984 by George Orwell, which was published in 1949. So the last line was, he loved Big Brother. If we think who said it, it was the narrator who said it about Winston Smith. So Winston, who was once a rebel, has been brainwashed by the party, and now he truly accepts Big Brother. So the novel ends on a chilling note that shows the totalitarianism's absolute control over the human's mind. So why it's important from exam point of view? Because Orwell's critique, as we know that George Orwell is an important modern writer, and Orwell's critique of authoritarianism, surveillance, and propaganda is somehow important from the exam point of view. The next last line was, like a dog, he said it was as if the same of it must outlive him. So this last line was from the trial by Franz Kafka, which was published in 1925. So Joseph K., who was the protagonist of the novel, who has been trapped in an absurd legal system, utters these words before being executed. So the line symbolizes about human helplessness, that is against the bureaucracy, and the meaninglessness of nature of justice. It is a key novel in existentialism and absurdism, and also Franz Kafka was a very famous writer, so it was often analyzed alongside Albert Camus, who was also known as an absurdist writer, his work The Stranger. So please read all the works of Franz Kafka, know more about all the works, and please remember this particular last line from the trial, as it's very important from exam point of view. The next last line, for everything to be consummated, for me to feel less alone, I had only to wish that there be a large crowd of spectators the day of my execution, and that they greet me with cries of hate. So this particular last line was from The Stranger by Albert Camus, which was published in 1942. So, this line was the inner thoughts of the protagonist, who was named as Meursault. So, Meursault, who has shown no emotion throughout the novel, finally embraces the absurdity of the life. He also accepts his fate, realizing that human existence is so meaningless. It's important from exam point of view because Albert Camus was an existential writer. In his all works, we often see the theme of existentialism and the absurdity, the meaninglessness of life. So, Camus' philosophy of absurdism is definitely a key concept in modernist literature. That's why it's important to know about all his works and the themes related to his works. The next last line was Amen. Even so come Lord Jesus. So this last line was from Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which was published in 1847. So this last line was said by a side character, not the main character. It was said by the side character who was a missionary named St. John Rivers. So St. John Rivers, who was a devout Christian, is ready for death and a spiritual journey. So this whole sentence or the whole theme contrasts with our main lead, Jane's life, as she chooses love and personal happiness over the blind duty. So Jane Eyre's all Victorian novels are very important, but Jane Eyre, this particular novel, shows the Victorian morality, gender roles, and religion themes in literature. The next last line was, she looked up, and across the barn her lips came together and smiled mysteriously. So this last line was from The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which was published in 1939. So this powerful ending shows the rose of Sharon, who was breastfeeding a starving man, which symbolizes about human kindness and survival. It also highlights the theme of hope, resilience during the Great Depression period. This Grapes of Wrath, the old barn in the storm, which fades into a sunrise, represents about the social realism and naturalism. It was also, we can see, it was frequently appears in discussion on American literature and about the Great Depression. So it's important, and this particular last line was also important from our exam point of view. So please do remember the line. The next last line, the horror, which was most frequently asked in all our English literature exam, was the last line from Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which was published in 1899. So these are the dying words of Cruz, a colonizer who realizes that the darkness within himself, the darkness he has within himself. So this phrase captures the brutality of imperialism and the moral corruption of power and the human descent into the savagery. So we can often see that Joseph Conrad's all works have been appearing in the exam, and the themes related to Joseph Conrad's work was very much important because it has some modernist themes. So it frequently appears in post-colonial studies and criticism. Also, this novel explores the psychological depth and the impact of imperialism. That's why it's important to know, and please remember this last line was often asked in all our English literature exams. So please do carefully remember the last line of Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. The next last line was, "This is not a story to pass on." And this last line was from Beloved by Toni Morrison, which was published in 1987. So these haunting words reflect the trauma of slavery and the erasure of painful history. Morrison highlights the importance of memory while acknowledging that some wounds they never heal. It's important for exams because Toni Morrison was a very great writer, and we can see that often so many questions in the exam are related to her. So Morrison's use of magical realism and historical fiction is a key theme to postmodernist literature. So it was often discussed, this particular work of Toni Morrison was often discussed in feminist and post-colonial literary studies. So it's important to read all the works of Toni Morrison and particularly remember the last line of Beloved, that is, "This is not a story to pass on." So please remember that great literature, they leaves us with powerful final words that stay with us long after we close the book. So if you all like today's video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comment section which of these last lines impacted you the most. I'll try to bring some more last lines from our English literature so that it's definitely going to help you a lot in your exam. Till then, be safe, keep reading literature and exploring our literature.